Yeah, okay, we're good. Good evening. I'm Dr. Edel Kroll. Some of you right now might be thinking, I know that guy. Why do I want to punch him in the face? Well, it's probably because you recognize me from this. There's no better way to determine if enrolling in Marshall would be your best decision ever than visiting Virginia's school. But when I'm not trying to make your life slightly less tedious as you're on hold with financial aid, I'm the chair of the Classics Department, as well as the director of Sexuality Studies here at Marshall University. And it's in that capacity that I want to welcome all of you to Wizard of Sexuality Studies 2015. Let me take a minute to explain the rules to you. Waiting behind this curtain are 4 faculty from across the university. Each of them is a master of their discipline, and each of them really wants your love. They're hoping to crush the competition, be dubbed Wizard of Sexuality Studies, win glory, bragging rights, this lovely hat, and a wand. The rules of the competition are vanishingly simple. There will be 2 main rounds of 5 questions each, separated by an intermission. Each of the professors will have 1 minute to answer each question. I'll alert the competitors by saying 10 seconds before their time is up. The order of the speakers has been predetermined by randomizer.org. After each faculty member has spoken, you, the audience, will determine who the best is by voting with your clickers A, B, C, or D. Points will be tallied, and the person with the most points at the end will win the game and strut around, zapping their foes with this lovely, lovely wand. But we have 2 more wrinkles to make the game more interesting. First, in the middle of each of the rounds is a lightning round. Our combatants will give 1-sentence answers to brief questions. 5 volunteers in the audience will vote on best answer, and the person with the most votes at the end wins all the points for that question. No majority, no score. It's a great chance to rack up quick points. Second wrinkle, look at the buckets on the table by the stage. If you feel that your favorite person isn't getting the respect they deserve, you can change that. Thanks to Citizens United, it's like magic. For every dollar that you throw in the bucket, points will go to your person. We're a modern democracy, go ahead and buy the vote. All the money tonight will go to Contact, the 24-hour Right Crisis Center. For more information on Contact, please see the advocates in the atrium just beyond the doors. Now, you may be asking, Dr. Kroll, where did questions come from? Well, I got a secret for you. That was a question. In other words, the questions come from you. And there are 2 ways that you can submit your questions to us. 1, we have green question forms in the back. Just give them to our major domo, Walter Squire, in this nice big silver urn. Give him a wave, Dr. Squire. Thank you. And if your question is picked, I'll read it to the panel. Second way, Dr. Squire will be watching our Twitter feed for questions that may be tweeted in by people who are watching our live stream on youtube.com/musexualitystu, STU. Go ahead, tell your friends, I'm not going to fail you. So tweet your question to @musexualitystu, STU, or by using the hashtag Wizard2015. 2 other brief announcements before we get going. First, we have a raffle. Dr. Barris and Sexuality Studies have donated a couple gently used books. If you sign up for our email list using one of the blue slips in the back, right after intermission, you might be richer by 1 book. And second, last year's winner, Dr. Jeffrey Roof of Religious Studies, will not be joining us. I caught him breaking into my office and tampering with the materials for tonight, trying to get an edge. Luckily, I and our cameras were there to catch him.
Please. How about a cadaver?
Get better soon, Jeff. But But enough prelude, let's get on with the show. Put your hands together and give a rousing martial welcome to me. And there they are. I hope nobody's lactose intolerant because the cheese is not going to stop tonight.
Oh, man.
Even better, right? All right.
Whoa, that's right.
Yeah, I hope you all feel that eventually we got an excellent tasty food coming. All right, well, welcome to Wizard of Sexuality Studies 2015. Give yourself a round of applause coming up. Bigger crowd than last year, so this is a happy thing. All right, well, we have, as I said before, 4 professors here tonight. Sitting under letter A, we have Dawn Howardson of Psychology. Under B, Hillary Brewster from English. Under C, Robin Conley from Sociology and Anthropology. And D, Sean Schulenberg from Political Science. Excellent. And as I said, they will each be fighting for your love. So why don't we test out to see how well the clickers are working tonight? So would you, Walter, would you swivel the screen around? All right. So everybody, give it a shot.
Well, they're moving.
All right, we're good. Nicely done. It's so good to have technology that works. All right, so tonight, as I said, we're going to have our competitors competing for that awesome hat and their wands, which is not quite as awesome as my wand. Observe the candle. Lumos. Lumos. Yeah. I think it's the part where I shut up when we get to the questions. All right, so the first question tonight, and we're going to start, as I said, all the people that will be answering has been completely randomized by randomizer.org. And so the first person answering our first long form questions, which are 1 minute long, I'll let you know when you've got 10 seconds left, will be Hillary Brewster. All right, Hillary, tell me, what's the best country in the world for sex, sexuality, or sexual expression? And what makes you say so?
Well, I read recently that in Sweden, they start sex ed at like age 7. And it's very pleasure focused as opposed to the abstinence only sex ed that a lot of American children get and teenagers. And that it continues up and through adulthood. And in high school, they have classes on like kissing and like how to turn your partner on and stuff like that. And 61% of Swedish women, adult women, reported that the last time they had a casual sexual encounter that they had an orgasm. So something good is happening in Sweden.
All right, Robin, what do you say?
I'm gonna go with Ireland, because if Irish people long ago hadn't had any sex, then I wouldn't be here. So more seriously, I'm gonna go with the idealistic answer and say the US, because I believe I think we're a really repressed society in terms of sexuality right now, unfortunately, but I believe in progress, and I think you guys are the ones who are going to make the progress happen. So I'm going to choose the idealistic answer and say the US.
All right. All right. John, what do you think?
I am going to go with Argentina for a couple of reasons. They have, I know, I've lived a year in Argentina, so I can. I've had some sex in Argentina, so I can, from personal experience. Also, they have one of the first country in Latin America to pass same-sex marriage. They have the most comprehensive gender identity law in the world, beating out anywhere, even in Europe, for many people. And a little tidbit fact is that in Argentina, almost every single private insurance company will allow you one elective cosmetic surgery per year. So that makes it
per year.
That is a lot of
It's insane. And so you see it when you're in Buenos Aires. So I'm going to go with Argentina for those reasons.
Nice. How about you, Don? What do you say?
I'm going to go with the Netherlands because it's one of the countries that's more accepting of premarital sex. It's one of the things that we chat about in my social psychology class is what countries are more acceptable. I don't know any cool statistics like the other folks, but I think the Netherlands. I'll go with the Netherlands.
All right. Nice. So everybody vote A, B, C, or D on your clickers.
B, first or which way would be? Do you even figure out which way that would be the
All right, everybody voted?
Everybody voted?
All right. So what's the result?
The winner is Hillary,
Nice.
followed by Sean, then Robin, and Dawn Rayleigh.
Congratulations.
Now the rest of all of it. Okay.
Now, don't forget, each of you can submit questions. There's some green sheets in the back. Just put them in the silver urn up there, and Walter Squire will test them for you. All right. Well, I'm sure you would probably expect this question, and I can anticipate the groaning right now. I think I heard, yeah. So, 50 Shades of Grey made $90 million in its first weekend, and including international gross, has just touched $500 million. So, according to BoxOfficeMojo.com, this makes it the fifth top grossing romantic drama. I know, romantic drama, and followed by Titanic, very romantic, Ghost, Pearl Harbor, that's number 3, and Jerry Maguire. So just above Great Gatsby, another great romantic film. So, does this show a cultural awakening regarding BDSM, bringing it out of the closet, or is something else going on? Well, what do you think, Dawn?
I think that something else is going on. I think that we're falling back on these traditional gender roles, and we're falling back on women wanting to be protected and taken care of, and men being strong and masculine. It makes us feel comfortable to see these roles taking place. It makes us feel good to be cherished and protected and put on a pedestal as women, even though that's not necessarily what's going on in 50 Shades of Grey. It's a little bit more domestic violence-y, but seeing those traditional gender roles, I think that that's comforting as a society to see that going on in a world where other things are not necessarily so sure on a daily basis.
Interesting. Hillary.
So one interesting fact about 50 Shades of Grey in America is that the box office sales in the South were higher than any other place. Like the pre-box office sales in the South were a lot higher in places like Alabama and things like that. So I think that that's really interesting because obviously 50 Shades of Grey started out as Twilight fan fiction, the double barf, and and with the rise of like Kindles and Nooks, you can read a lot of things secretly, so people don't know what you're reading. And so a lot of the people who obviously went to go see 50 Shades had also read it. So I think that we're seeing that was a lot of the audience. And unfortunately for the BDSM community, 50 Shades of Grey is really not about kink. Ultimately, the storyline is about if you are the right kind of woman, then you can change a man into not being so weird and he will turn into this normal person. And so I think it's really just secret repressive sex stuff coming out in the movie theater, and it's awful and weird and don't see it.
All right, Sean.
I would like to be optimistic about the movie. I think it shows that people are interested in more alternative sexualities and trying out some different things. I haven't read the book or watched the movie.
I can't tell, are you leaking?
No, I haven't. Well, my current research project, the current book I'm working on, I'm studying BDSM community. I was at Beyond Vanilla in Dallas a couple months ago doing interviews with people in the BDSM community, and their impressions are like, we're not watching that movie. So it's not representative. I saw a little Facebook thing that said, you know, if all this happened in a trailer park instead of him being a billionaire, this would be an episode of Criminal Minds. And so I think it's more about the money and the fantasy rather than the BDSM. And the other chapters in my book, BDSM is step one. The other chapters in the upcoming book are polyamory, furries, nudist naturalists. So it's really limiting, I think, to think this is the this sexual exploration explosion.
All right. How about you, Robin? What do you think?
I have to agree with my fellow panelists. There's a lot more conventional about 50 Shades of Grey than we like to think. And I think that actually makes it especially dangerous because we think it's somehow sexually freeing, but it's not that sexually freeing. I also have not read it or seen the movie. I just didn't have any personal interest. But I think, women and men have been reading whatever you want to call them, sex novels for years and years and years.
I think we call it erotica.
Erotica, thank you. Well, I was going to say something else that I didn't want to say. Anyway, you can buy them in the grocery store. I think the fact that it was fan fiction of Twilight is part of what led to its success, not that it's this revelatory, sexually freeing text, because as
10 seconds.
the other people here have said, it's not. So yeah, I'm a little cynical as well, that I don't think it represents any sort of sexual freedom in our society.
All right. Grab your clickers, and that's not a euphemism. So, all right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Winner, once again, Hillary. Robin second. Oh, tied with Don for second. And Sean in last place.
That's what I found out last year. Used to that.
Also, if I can just, now that the voting is over, fun fact, what's her face, Steele, the character in the movie, doesn't have a single orgasm in the whole film. So just let's talk about repression. Yep.
Maybe in the director's cut?
I don't know, but all that stuff, and she doesn't even get hers. So.
All right. This is a question that comes in from Twitter, and it says, "What if my coworker says I dress too sexy? I say it's none of their business. Who is right?" Tell me, Hillary.
Well, I just went first. How am I going again first? DMU randomizer. Okay.
That's how you know it's truly random.
Don't cry, you're a randomizer.
Okay. So I think what's interesting about this question is that I think we're all assuming that it's a female being told that she is dressing too sexily. And what I think is interesting is that you would probably never say that to a male coworker, that you are dressing too sexily. And it has a lot to do with how male gazy our culture is. So I think that regardless of whether something is sexy or not, there are contexts for things. And if you are coming to work dressed as though you're going out, or dressed as though you are a dominatrix in your personal life, which more power to you, maybe that is not the best clothing, but because context sort of matters when it comes to clothes, but unless if it has anything to do with somebody being distracted, screw it.
All right. Screw it.
Really not prepared to go first on that one.
Well, you're gonna be sad. All right, Dawn, what do you think?
I'm with Hillary in terms of the distraction. If it's about distraction, if somebody's saying that you're being too sexy at work, you're wearing something too sexy at work, and you're wearing something that would be somewhat work appropriate, I say screw them as well. But you do have to be careful in a work environment because it could border on sexual harassment. So if your cha-chas are hanging out, maybe you should cover them up a little bit. Or if your ass is hanging out of your pants or whatever, maybe you should cover that up a little bit just to be professional in a work environment and make sure that you're not making anyone uncomfortable. But don't let anybody put you down for what you're doing and what you're wearing. You should do what you're comfortable with and what's comfortable for you, but just make sure that you're not making anyone else uncomfortable in the process.
All right. Sean.
This question kind of reminds me of a joke that I once heard, so I'll paraphrase the joke. So how do you tell the difference between whether, someone is dressing too sexy or too prudish? And the answer is they're dressing too sexy if they're dressing sexier than you. And they're dressing too prudish if they're dressing more prudier. What's the word? More prudish. Prettier. Yes. I mean, this just gets to the fact that we usually define our own sexual lives as natural and normal, and our own dress as natural and normal. And we tend to be sexually judgmental to those that aren't having the same experiences we are. So to answer a question, I wouldn't care what that person says.
All right.
I have two answers. The first is aligned with the ladies here, that I believe in professionalism. I think it's important, and clothing has to do with it. I do believe the definition of professionalism gets gendered when we're talking about clothing a lot, which is unfortunate. But I don't like the way the question is phrased, because I think what is sexy is not necessarily what's inappropriate. I think a woman wearing something very professional and appropriate can be very sexy, as well as a man doing the same. So yeah, I think professional does not, and sexy are not necessarily mutually exclusive.
All right. Grab your clickers, please.
That's a great answer.
The kids don't like it.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Winner of this question by a long mile is Robin.
Oh, that's me?
It's the colors that could be.
You were
Yeah.
No, I'm yellow.
By
I'm
Don
that
and
yellow.
Sean. And
It is very
Hillary
confusing.
For once.
I have to say I actually disagree with you, and so I'm going to put my money where Dawn's mouth is for using the term cha-chas. There you go.
Nice use of the term cha-chas.
And don't hesitate if you like me, think that everyone else is wrong, but you're right. Because last year we were able to raise
Story of my life.
$539 for contact, and every dollar goes right to them. So don't hesitate to contribute. All right, so right now we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to have our lightning round. I need 5 volunteers who want to have all the power in their hands. All right.
Oh, no.
1.
Oh, great. She's friends with all the color books.
2.
That's not cool. What does
Right.
she get to do?
So-
She's got like
Yeah.
And we can pass one of those back as well. 4.
I wish you got here early.
All right.
Oh.
I think that
No, because we're in the same department.
What's
so
that?
I said,
Go, Theo.
Well, just so that like we're not actually competing.
All right, so here's how it works. I'm going to ask some very short questions, sometimes one-word answer, sometimes one-sentence answer. Keep your clauses tight, Hillary.
Well, my clause is very tight.
And then we'll do
Thanks
quick
for the
voting.
softball.
So if, for example, everyone thinks that that Dawn is best, everybody who's got a thing, hold your A up. All right, this is the tech run through for
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right,
It's a focus
everybody
group.
try B.
Focus group.
I have it. Gotcha.
Yay, see?
2 out of 5.
Oh, no.
Mr. Robbins is great.
I'm sure you must settle, but you should expect that D's coming next, right? All right, and D. All right, and so the person with the majority will win 5 points for each question. So very short questions. All the power is in your hands. If nobody gets majority, just like with ostracism, no points. All right. So I said, one sentence answers. Sean, what's the worst piece of sex advice you've been given?
Wait till marriage.
I think it's sex device.
Dawn.
What's the worst sex device you've been given?
Oh, the correct answer is Oxford Latin Dictionary. Dawn.
I'm still thrown off.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, Hillary.
Inexperience is desirable.
All right, Robin.
Hypothetically, learn sex from watching porn.
All right, votes. A, B, C, or D. All right, D's the majority, so Sean gets 5 points. Next, define sexuality, Hillary.
One second.
Go. Delay of game. Sexuality is a person's expression of to whom and what they are attracted, when, where, why, and how.
All right, Robin.
Yeah, an identity category linked to one's desires.
Dawn.
Identity linked to whatever you believe your own sexual expression might be.
Okay, and Sean?
I want to make it ambiguous for the person also doing it, whatever you want to define it as.
Love
All
it.
right, votes.
That's much better.
All right, Robin wins, 5 points. Okay, tell me, Dawn, is there anything that is still taboo about sex or sexual expression that you think shouldn't be?
Is there anything that's still, everything is still taboo, I feel like. Everything.
All right.
Everything's still taboo.
And so everything shouldn't be taboo.
Well.
That was your sentence. All right. I'm sorry, Sean, you're next.
BDSM.
Okay, Hillary.
Really?
Uh,
Maurice?
Yeah, everything except like child porn and maybe incest is probably still taboo and shouldn't
Oh,
be.
I wasn't thinking of those things.
I'm going to say the act of sex itself.
All right, votes please.
Hillary, bestiality?
And that
All
Forgot
right,
about that
Sean
one.
wins, 5 points.
too. I don't even remember what she
I
said.
don't remember either.
BDSM.
BDSM.
Yeah, all right.
Whatever. You
All right,
shaders.
lightning for Robin in one sentence or less. Beyond marriage equality, which the Supreme Court said they'll rule on this session, what's the next big legal battle you'd like to see before the Supreme Court?
Beyond marriage equality?
Yeah, so that's already going to be handled this session. What's the next big thing that you'd like to see the Supreme Court handle?
Does it have to relate to sexuality? I mean, I want the death penalty. Can I say that? I don't know.
It's your own answer.
Okay, I'll own it.
All right, so the death penalty and sex. All right, fine. So snuff films are bad. Okay, I'm glad I agree with you on that. That's a fine answer. All right, Sean.
A clarification of Roe v. Wade of abortion on demand, where that a woman can have an abortion and complete and total control over her body.
All right, Dawn.
And the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, so that people of all sexual orientations will not be discriminated against in the workplace based upon their sexual orientation.
Okay, Hillary.
Well, my gut answer is actually Citizens United, but that has nothing to do with sex, except that sex and money always go together. So I'm going to go with Citizens United because they took all the good answers anyway.
All right, those. All right, Sean, again.
Yeah.
All right, and lightning question number 5.
Answer.
So with all the social, economic, and environmental problems in the world, is sex really that big a deal? So tell me, Robin.
I don't think you need the preface. I never think sex is a huge deal. Well, it's both the biggest deal in our lives and, oh, is this a lightning round?
Yes. So you gave a couple really good answers.
Sorry.
Right, all
I
right.
forgot.
Hillary.
I think so because sex is about humans and everything else also has to do with human interaction. So of course, sex is both simultaneously a big deal and not as big deal as it should be because people.
All right, Dawn.
Consensual sex, no, protect yourself, do what you want to do, have some fun with it. Sex that's not consensual, yeah, I think that's a big deal.
Interesting. Sean.
How was that phrased?
So with all the other problems in the world, is sex really a big deal?
Definitely.
All right.
Nice.
Wow, catapulting to the lead, I assume. Nice. Nice. Okay, so that ends our lightning round. We have 2 more rounds left before intermission. Okay, and Walter, have we gotten any questions yet that you are worth? While I'm looking through these, so Hillary,
Randomizer likes you.
I can show you the list.
I believe you. It's fine.
I don't want to slut shame, but I think my friend is being under choosy. Should I say anything? And if so, what?
I like that phrase of under choosy, actually. I've never thought of that before. I think what's interesting is that we try to live in this. It would be nice if we were living in a post-feminist era, but we are not, and in my opinion. And first of all, I think the friend who is using under choosy, what I think is trying to be implicated in that question is this friend thinks that this friend is perhaps sleeping with people for like personal valuement. That's not, I'm an English professor, that is not a word. But to increase self-esteem issues. And so I think that a friend has an ethical obligation to interfere if that is perhaps what he or she is worried about. But if they just think that this friend is sleeping with the wrong kind of people, then get the hell over yourself.
All right, Sean.
I'm not sure if I could tell from the question if they were, was it because of their appearance in the question? I couldn't tell.
I don't want to slut
Under-choosing.
shame, but I think my friend is
Under-choosing.
being under-choosing.
Yeah, you should intervene if they're being under choosy in terms of quality people that are healthy for them. Extremely, if it's they're doing that. This person's only a 5 and you're 8, then they're a jerk.
It comes down to math.
You hear that people, only people with certain numbers date. But
You can only go 2.
yeah. So yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, if it's all about the appearance, then they're a jerk. If it's actually about caring, loving relationships, then they're awesome.
Okay. So instead of about the numerator, it's all about the base, right? Okay. I apologize. Forget it, yes. All right, now we move on. Robin, what do you think?
First of all, I don't think shame should enter the equation ever, so get that out of there. But I think kind of like what Hillary said, there's probably something else going on with your friend that is just expressing itself through sexual behavior. So instead of talking to her about her sexual or him about their sexual partners, maybe try to find out what's going on. Or do they have some self-esteem issues? Or are they feeling bad about something, and approach it from that perspective rather than slut shaming, as this person says, which again, never do that.
All right. We get done.
Yeah, I think that if it's about the attractiveness issue and you think that your friend is not sleeping with or dating or whatever, people who you think might not be up to your friend's caliber, then that's just silly. But if it's something that you might be concerned that maybe your friend is doing something that might be unhealthy for him or her and is going in a manner that might be detrimental to their self-esteem, then that might be a time to intervene. And just a very quick plug for the Marshall University Psychology Clinic. If you think that your friend needs to see someone, the Psychology Clinic is always open to seeing students, and it's free for you all as well. So contact your favorite psychologist and we'll get you set up.
It's free for you because you paid tuition.
Yes. So you pay for it anyway, just go. It's good.
All right, votes, please. Anyone need a clicker? 5,
Step up my game.
4, 3, 2, 1. All right, how'd it go?
Self-esteem thing.
We have a
You
tie
stole it. You stole
between
it.
Don
You lost
and
it.
Robin, followed by Sean and Hillary last.
You guys are stealing my answers and then getting
Somebody need a clicker?
You're wrong. Hillary was great on that one.
Need a clicker?
Thanks. I was the first person who mentioned the self-esteem issues.
I know that I
All
stole
right.
You jerks.
So sad.
And Rebecca Turnbull, are you in the audience? All right. Why don't you read out your question?
Oh, live.
Or we'll read it for you.
In the live studio.
I don't know on the spot like that. Jesus.
This is great.
I wrote, in China, the virginities of geishas were auctioned off to the highest bidder, and the geishas had to undergo rigorous beautification practices such as balancing their head on like a wooden rest while they went to sleep, and if they woke up and rolled into the rice, they'd have to keep doing it. And I was just wondering what other like interesting or intricate sexual practices exist in other cultures.
Okay.
Gee, this is only catered for Robin a little bit.
But I'm having trouble choosing.
All right.
Who are you?
Well, it's not your turn yet, so Dawn, you start.
Well, my boyfriend's from India. Sutra's no joke. That's all I gotta say.
All right, Hillary.
Can we get what was the quick end of the question again? I got all worked up knowing that it was really for Robin.
like what other interesting sexuality practices have you heard of from other cultures?
And by interesting, you mean like legitimately interesting, not like interesting?
It could be anything.
So I will say, and I'm going to take the sort of the loose term of interesting. I think our culture is obsessed with virginity and purity, and I think that purity balls and like purity rings and the ceremonies that girls go to with their dads, and they wear like little white fluffy dresses that are kind of like wedding dresses, and you pledge your virginity to your dad until your husband. I think that is vile and disgusting. And purity balls in some places are supported with taxpayer dollars. So we are fueling this obsessive thing with white middle class virginity. And I think that to go to the point about the geishas and their virginity being auctioned off and stuff, I think our culture is obsessed with virginity, and it's a problem, and it's stupid, and your taxpayer dollars are going to purity balls. That's creepy.
Wow. All right, Robin.
I guess I'll just talk about this because I think it's hard for some of us to think about, and it puts into question our categories of sexuality. But travesties in Brazil, they're male to female transgender prostitutes, and most of them still have male genitalia, and a lot of them have breast implants. And they're highly desired in the culture. Usually it's men who identify as straight who use them as they're usually prostitutes. Unfortunately, this happens in a lot of other cultures as well. But what I like about them, I mean, other than that they're people and people are cool, I think they're a good teaching tool because, again, I think it makes us question what we think is gay and what we think is straight, and what we think are male and female gender categories. And so it's an example of a culture where that's a little more playful and a little more complex.
Right. Sean?
I'm glad I had time to think about this. No, this was this was great being at the end. I would have to say the guavadoche in the Dominican Republic. It's a specific variation of intersex. Where some people with a genetic history, they're born and raised as a girl and they appear as a girl because they have certain hormones that aren't being read by the body and processed. But once they hit puberty, this process kicks everything in, so they look like they undergo gender reassignment surgery. Essentially, they look like they transition naturally from being a woman to a man in puberty, and it's completely and totally perfectly accepted and natural, and people kind of naturally transform their gender.
Wow, interesting. Votes, please. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Surprise. Hillary won. Robin and Sean tied.
All right, can you do a quick tabulation as we go into intermission to see how things stack up?
Sure.
And so while he's counting, please take a chance to visit the contact table outside. We also have 7-layer bars, hot chocolate, coffee, all kinds of good sweet stuff to make sure that you can't sleep tonight. All right.
All right.
1 sec. The scores are.
Going into halftime, Sean has the lead, followed by Robin, Hillary in third place, and not by much, but Dawn is in fourth.
All right. So round of applause.
Nice male privilege, Sean.
I know. Yes. I wish you came like 5 minutes earlier.
That feels good. Painkiller was kicked in.
Yeah, I might go get something. How was all the interviewing stuff today?
Ariel was going to go, actually, but then I convinced him to go to dinner. Oh, sorry.
I do.
Let me in while you're at it.
Gathering of data. But I was reading and particularly the program that I worked for, and people were going into medical facilities and nursing facilities. They had any history of what they call mental illness, which has been depression and their PCP, primary care strategy.
No. Okay, I thought about that after I actually was my knee. I didn't do it.
That was meant to protect.
No, I know. I was more excited about
I didn't like, they didn't send me that organization.
well, proofread.
That's like labeling people as. Right.
I got a little more worse.
Experiences, symptoms of, or the constellation. But I don't like thinking of a person as. You have cancer, you have those, you're not cancer. You have schizophrenia, right? Schizophrenia, it's a social construction of our language. And over time, I became more comfortable with it. And my role in perpetuating it as a diagnostician.
Yeah.
I'm Samantha. Are we meeting tomorrow?
Where is your ID?
Oh, I thought you said.
Check the Cinderella lanyard.
Oh, we met last week.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're not interrupting. Oh, did you get your IRB for your flyers? I'm really sorry, but I didn't want you to get hammered
I'm
later
glad you told me
on.
because I was gonna know.
Well, I felt, I didn't know if I should bring it up or not. I mean, I knew somebody should bring it up. I was just surprised that there were
Okay.
stacks of responses.
I need my number.
And
I'll
no
text
one
it to
said
you.
anything about IRB.
I mean, I had mentioned it several times in class that I wanted to use that flyer, like make a flyer and then email it out. And I was kind of told that I had really sorry I should look it up, but I had no idea. So I'm glad you told me.
Yeah,
Why
I
did it
like thought that you were doing all work now, so somehow
it slipped by him and said,
because in the proposal, it sounded like.
it's really ended.
I was
It changed.
I started picking up underwear and I was like, I have to get out of here.
Either,
Well,
I
email
submitted
me.
it.
What did you
I submitted it.
Oh, no, I'm saying when you did your initial IRB, excited for Nancy through.
You gotta, like,
proposal
set a
submission,
time.
then you have to actually give them, it's an email that has to be drafted with the email says, or reads, if it's a
poster has to be. Only if someone from the IRB eventually caught it, but then if they did.
That's serious.
That's literally
like what I'm
like trying
to
like
One of these days, he's just gonna like accidentally blurt out, "I love you," and I'm not even gonna be surprised.
That's not, that's a very, very simple.
I don't know.
Is what they call, yeah. These are done.
I mean, rest of the one at a time.
But that's a simple one. That's not a big deal, but if you don't catch it, and they catch it instead of you, then chances are they would have caught it, but it's better to do it right. So I'm sorry, but it was necessary.
No need to apologize. I'm just very glad you caught it. 'Cause I was like, oh my gosh, I could have just like, I couldn't imagine. I was supposed to like it would have gone somewhere. Like I don't know. But it would have
They
freaked
would
me
have
out.
just made, they would it's not like that's a huge thing. Like if you were to change your survey, there would be questions after you submit it to them, then that might be big.
I'm not touching that survey. We finally got it laid out.
Those were the main reasons.
This girl babysits this kid, but like, look how freaking old he looks.
Three spheres of your like social, occupational, also, you know, all this, it has to interfere with several of those.
Well, I honestly like expected him to get really mad and like try to yell at people.
Almost more than that. I'm blaming my breakup on why my questions or my answers are open. Yeah, TJ broke up with me on Thursday because he's an idiot.
Don't do it to me. If you want, Robin and I usually I kick people in the shins and she brings her house down together. Does he have any pets? I just want to make sure that I'm not part of that.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Hey, do you all have anything that you want to plug?
I do.
You might have some.
I have. Chris, are there any English events coming up this semester? We just had the reading. Is there anything else? Okay.
Wait, who?
Sarah Chavez and Joel Becker.
One of my ex's names. I was like, what's he doing?
Well, the job candidate
I
that
know
we've been
somebody said a
interviewing
bunch
the
of
past 2
Twitters.
days did not the one who broke up with me Thursday, but the guy before that did. So it was unnerving to pick him up in the airport. Okay, I gotta step up my game.
No, don't do that. Don't even pressure on yourself. Look at me.
Okay, shut up.
I have no
I
pressure
said
on
I
you.
gotta step up my game. I'm in third place. This is horseshit. Oh,
And the reason is because you guys are feeling pressure right now.
it's true.
I lost so bad last year.
Did you place that?
I think I won one question. I was in fourth or third.
Placement. You're not a placement. We're gonna plug events. And have events to plug. I don't think so. Plug the clinic. Okay. Psychology, I'm doing it there Wednesdays, or I'm gonna talk about book club. Women's Studies Conference. Oh yeah, okay, you say that.
With one speaker a year.
Okay.
That's all the money that would do. Good enough for one.
We're gonna plug events. Do you have any events to plug?
Is anyone going to talk about the?
You.
Okay.
The Women's Studies Conference.
Oh, I'll talk about that with the rehabilitation and incarceration.
I can talk about those. You do the conference. I'll do book club. You do rehabilitation and incarceration. Sean's got it.
Promote my study.
Yeah, do that.
Already done for this year.
Already.
There's also the COLA conference.
Conference book club.
She did.
Like, yeah, I know.
Sean's like, I got a book club.
I was like,
Yeah. Seriously.
there was a convention in Knoxville.
Oh
You
yeah.
have to do your research and stuff. It was last spring, I think.
Okay.
Are you putting money in?
The next two.
Well, you know, turn in a read a response tomorrow, so.
Hey, I already graded your paper. You get an A every time.
Yeah, I graded
20
those.
and 40.
She's one of my
I
best
got no
friends.
students.
Like, honestly, she's legit. Like, gonna be
Somebody here. In my classroom.
And of course, it'll be ironic if I win because I said like, Citizens United, but that's fine. Yeah, going first and fourth are really hard. I think
Yeah.
second is really the best.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Second, third, yeah.
You know, because fourth, most of us have said kind of what you want to say, and first we're like,
It depends because there's some of them that there's really almost one or two ways you can answer it,
right.
other than like the name of the
So like
country.
sexual identity, like how many times, I can't say sexual identity.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah, you said expression, so I was like, I can't say expression.
Right.
And I'm like, it's shit.
World peace. World peace.
World
World. I think that you would send your.
I saw some, what did you say?
I tell the legislature if there was a policy paper in my economic policy seminar, I would grade it as an F because they have zero evidence supporting their claim.
Good. That's good.
Because everybody else was talking about the LGBT, which was the real focus. I'm just going to pretend that you guys are actually trying to make it. Where's your data? These people are saying it's going to hurt. You say it's going to hurt.
All right, well, welcome back. And everybody who wants to go for a raffle book, get their blue sheet in our urn. All right. May I have, and okay, would you come down and help us out here?
Sure.
Will it light on fire?
The book?
The goblet.
The goblet. Goblet of fire.
Oh, that would be excellent. That would be
More the
excellent.
Hunger Games movie.
Well, you want to reach your hand into the hat and see if you can pull out a
I went on my
Sorry,
head
on
and
the
sword into
stage.
a
That was
house.
before this.
All right.
We got
Yeah, I don't know. Would that be a
We
violation?
volunteered as tribute.
All right.
It's just me getting hard.
All right. So for the ethics of marginality, would
Eva Robertson.
come on down, Eva Robertson. Evan?
Evan.
Evan Robertson. Excellent. A man with a handwriting like mine. Ethics of marginality.
I was going to be a doctor one day. I don't know.
Excellent. And now for Eve Sedgwick's tendencies. Ashley Vandra.
Yep.
Excellent. Here you go. For Calvin Thomas's Straight with a Twist, Queer Theory and the Subject of Heterosexuality. These were donated by Dr. Jeremy Barris. Miranda Jennings. Miranda, is that you?
I mean, I said random. No, I did not.
All right. Now for the big old lesbian and gay bisexualities reader. Love that.
I asked if I could. My apartment here. I have been asked.
Allie Francis, come on down.
Teaching Wednesdays.
Difference Troubles, Queering Social Theory and Social Politics by Stephen Seidman. Amanda Rivera, come on down.
We should steal that one right there.
Right next to her.
I mean, I will need
Okay,
textbooks, so.
The instructor's edition for sex, gender, and sexuality. I cannot confirm whether or not this came from my office. Mandy Patrice? Mandy, M-A-N-D-I?
Patrick?
Mandy Patrick? 3, 2.
Mandy Patrick?
All right, you lose.
The next professor teaching Intro to Sexuality Studies should get that book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie Turley. Jackie Turley. Excellent. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm gonna stock those.
I want to grab these before I give it away.
In the winter, maybe, like spring of next year.
What is it?
Give it to Lori. Yeah. Wait,
Right.
no, I don't
Want
want
that?
to take. What is it? I can't even read what it is. Speaking of sexuality, you want that? I do. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And Hillary Brewster gets Speaking of Sexuality, Interdisciplinary Readings.
I'm probably
Congratulations.
teaching it in the spring of next semester, just
All right. And finally, Kimmel and the
I've
Stony
never
Brook
taught my
Research
boy.
Group, Sexualities, Identities, Behaviors, and Society goes to Caitlin Feyerrath.
Okay.
Is there a Caitlin, maybe Caitlin Graff?
Yeah, like
Grief?
Jane gets to fight.
Oh, hey, congratulations.
It's Oxford.
There you are.
So they,
they'll do an exam.
Okay, and so all of you signed up on the listserv. Well, you win anyway because you'll get lots of tasty information from us about some of our coming events. So, for example, if you're looking to get your brain on March 10th, and you want to see the sort of work that I and my colleague Christina Franzen, who both of us do sexuality studies work as well as work in the classic department, we're having our spring symposium. It's going to be March 10th from 3 to 4 p.m. in Harris 403. Dr. Franzen's doing Look No Further Than Yourself, Seneca's Oedipus, Deoculation, and Futility of Introspection. And my paper is conservatively titled, Is Bestiality Worse Than Gender Bending? As if and the Problem of Chasing Tail Like a Man in Ovid's Arts of Love, Book 1. All right, so that's coming up, as I said, on March 10th. This is also on our webpage, marshall.com/sexuality studies. Walter, you want to tell us about your event?
Yes, everyone, come back here, March 26th, Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. For a screening of Goodbye Galway Mountain, an ecosexual love story. Following the screening, the directors, Beth Stevens and the legendary Annie Sprinkle, will be here. That you can chat with, ask your questions, talk with them afterwards. So everyone, please come back, invite everyone you know.
Excellent, excellent. Do you all have any other things that you want to plug? It's coming up.
Thank you, I'll do. Women's Studies Conference is coming up April 10th and 11th. It's a national conference. It's entitled Women and Gender in the Social and Natural Worlds, and we're looking at rural perspectives. So this would be a great opportunity if you want to go see some people from across the country who are going to be coming and talking about issues of women and gender. It's a great opportunity to do that. It's right downtown at Pullman Plaza.
Women's Studies Book Club is Thursday, April 2nd, and we're trying something new this time. We are incorporating 3 different texts that have to do with sex trafficking and sex slavery, and you don't have to read all 3 of them. You can just sort of pick one. One of them is Patricia McCormick's young adult novel and verse called Sold. Another is Girls Like Us, a memoir of a former sex slave. And then the first third of a book called Half the Sky, which is a book about women's rights and oppression around the world. And the first third is about sex trafficking, mostly in Asia. And that is in the Women's Center in Pritchard Hall.
It's 135.
Pritchard Hall, 135, April 2nd at 6 p.m. There will be snacks, I
You
assume.
can still come if you haven't read the book.
You can also still come if you haven't read the books, because last semester I was the only person who had. So there you go.
3/4 of it.
Maybe you should be sitting in the A slot.
Wednesday, there's a panel discussion on rehabilitation, drug rehab for incarcerated people. And that's going to be in the basement of the Student Center, DE5 at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Should be really interesting. There's a community organization who works with rehab of inmates. So that, yeah, should be very interesting. Come to that.
2 things. One, I'm a faculty advisor for Lambda, and I know they have a ton of events coming up. So just check out the signs. I'm sure they're plastered around. They have different movie events coming up and different fundraising sales. So check that out. Also, I just want to plug, every year I teach study abroad in South America, so I'm plugging that right now. I go every other year to the Southern Cone, to either Chile or Argentina, and there I teach one class is Latin American politics, but since we're there, and all of my contacts there are feminist and LGBT leaders, you would meet different social movement leaders and activists in the Southern Cone, and they can talk directly about what they're doing. This year is Chile. And we're already closed for the year. But then if you think about it, next summer, we're going to Argentina,
Where you can check
a
out the
great
sites.
place to go.
So
Yeah. If you stay there long enough and get a job, you'll have private insurance and all the benefits that come with that.
I think you all are beautiful in your own.
Yeah.
you get a
All right, so let's kick off the second round with Crystal Thomas. Very interesting question. Where are you? Read that out.
First, yay.
Probably her first answer. So
Do you want your handwriting?
Actually, thank you for translating. My question was, how do you think pop or geek culture has affected and or advanced openness to sexuality, like the character Captain Jack Harkness in Doctor Who being homosexual and things like that.
All right. So, Dawn, give it a whack.
Ooh, I was watching The Walking Dead. I don't own a TV, I should say that, and I watch very, very little television. But I was just watching The Walking Dead the other day, and there was a gay couple on The Walking Dead, and I was so excited to see that I feel like almost every show that I do watch, there is a couple of the sexual minority. I think I watched Scandal, watched Grey's Anatomy, and Walking Dead, and now like it's making its way. I mean, we're coming to a place to where people of the sexual minority are on lots of mainstream shows, and affection can be seen. And I feel like that's what's going to be working to advance our society forward. You can't see it if you can't be it, and being able to see someone who looks like you on media or in media is really, I feel like, what's going to help us to move forward in society.
Sean.
I think kind of the what was the phrase? Geek, nerd, what?
Geek culture.
Geek. Okay, yeah. So I mean, I think they're interesting with other sexual minorities and how they intersect, and the way that they've been both kind of outsiders in a lot of ways. And I think we're seeing some fun ways in which there's more acceptance and kind of some almost geek pride with different events. And I know the one group, I told you the book coming up, I'm going to a furry conference this summer, Anthrocon in Pittsburgh. So I will be there.
That's ironic.
Anthropomorphic costumes, people wearing anthropomorphic costumes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm not, I don't even know how I'm finishing this question, so I'm just going to
Well, you have 10
slowly
seconds to do
trail off into a slow.
All right, Hillary.
So I think what's really interesting is that now that geek culture has become mainstream, because it was for so long on the margins, what is also coming about is a feminist and queer critique of geek culture. And that, I think, is doing a lot to forward how people think of video games and the misogyny and the violence and the sexism in video games and in comic books. And I think that, I admit I'm not really in the geek culture at all, but a podcast that I listen to does a segment on geek culture, so I at least pay attention to that. And one of them, I don't know if it's Marvel or DC, and I know that will make some of you hate my guts right now that I don't know which one, but one of them is making great strides right now to include more queer characters and more female characters that are positioned in sort of powerful and empowering ways. And I know that Anita Sarkeesian and her critique of gamer culture has really gotten people thinking about sexuality and femininity and gender roles and sexism and misogyny in the culture. And I think that that's where the rise is going to sort of come from, if you will.
first of all, give money to Sean because I interrupted him, so that wasn't fair. But
I didn't know. Thank you.
Damn it. Geek culture. Okay, so nerd girl has been sexualized like for time immemorial, right? So we've already done that. So I think what's maybe new about geek culture becoming repopularized or newly popularized is, first of all, geek males being sexualized. So like Doctor Who, is he sexy? I mean, okay, yeah, he's sexy. Okay, good. So that's a new thing and cool thing, I think, like geek guys being sexualized. And then also sort of geek, as like Sean was saying, as a minority group, being shown as having sexual agency. So being able to assert their sexuality in an agentive and powerful way, I think, is something else that's coming out from that that's good and positive.
All right. Another trailing off answer. So votes, please.
None of us are really good at what
See?
No, yeah, well,
Says no.
It says no.
Nope.
It could be a system.
Oh, they're going now.
All right, now it's working. Give it a shot.
Oh, there we go.
I can only pick B for some reason.
Yeah.
Funny, it seems to be broken.
That was a close one, Brewster.
All right, 5,
More than
4,
citizens united to corrupt
3,
democracy.
2, 1. All right. Wow.
Winner of the question, Hillary, followed by Robin, Sean, and then Dawn.
All right, but there were responses for Dawn, right? So it's not broken.
There we go.
No, it's totally broken.
Okay.
My one student is
not
like,
working.
Yeah, and don't forget, every dollar that you contribute to make your person win, and you'll be able to contribute right up until round 9. So before we get to the final round, we'll have our tallies done. Every single dollar will go to help out contact the Rape Crisis Center. So please do consider. That was a very practiced move there, Robin. Should I ask you about that, or all right.
Pandering. She's pandering.
Well, and she's up first. So, Robin, in the current debates about rights and responsibilities in the household, marriage equality has come to the fore. But this seems to have normalized the model of sexual romantic relations to two individuals. Is this a problem that poly couples have been shut out? Or people of other sexualities than just
So we've normalized. I don't think
we've normalized sexual relations to two people.
Oh, okay.
It talks about things like marriage equality.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's an interesting question because that's, I think, so there are some people who you would think would be for legalizing same-sex marriage, but they actually are against it because they don't want to support a sort of continued patriarchal definition of language, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's what that question is getting at. That as what we're essentially doing is we're funneling more and more diverse people into an old system. And unfortunately, that's all we got right now, I think. But I like the spirit of the question that I do think redefinition of marriage entirely, that, yeah, it includes more people, people, well, I'm not going to go there. But so, yeah, I think I unfortunately, again, I'm a cynic at heart. I think we're a long way away from that actually happening. So as I said, this is the best we have now, is to sort of funnel diverse people into this narrow model that we have. But eventually, hopefully, it'll evolve to really diversify what marriage means.
Right. Funnel sexuality.
Yeah.
All right.
Funneling, not just for beer.
Was it?
Funneling, just not just for beer.
Right, Dawn?
could you repeat the question? I know
All
some
right,
question
so
about
let
activity.
me stop the timer. All right, so with all the talk about things like marriage equality, it seems that the model of two people has become the normal model. Does this shut out too many other people, such as folks who are poly or perhaps don't believe in kids or such like that?
Oh yes, child-free people. Yeah. There's that.
Sorry.
heteronormativity definitely, it puts us in so when we're growing up, you develop a schema for what your world should be like around you. You see an animal and it's got 2 pointy ears and it's got a tail and it meows. Oh, that's a cat. You see a relationship and you think that someday I should be in a relationship with another person, and all of your life you're fed this on TV, in the media, everywhere. You're fed this relationship should be between a man and a woman, and then going from that and trying to break outside of it, how do we even go from being in this position to where society sees heteronormativity as the norm? How do we get outside of that into other relationships? I definitely think that it's problematic. I don't know how long it's going to take to get outside of that. We're still excited to see, or at least I'm still excited to see couples of the sexual minority on TV, and I can't even imagine how shocked people would be if there were couples. I mean, I'm sure that there are some shows like that. It's probably just not the one like Girls, maybe.
Like a TLC show.
Yeah, I don't have television. So I'm sure that there are some shows out there with like polyamorous couples, but I don't know how long it's going to take to be able to be seen in mainstream society, I guess.
So what I think is interesting is that the people who tend to, not always, be opposed to marriage equality for non-straight people tend to get a lot of their rhetoric from the Bible. And if you've read the Bible, there is a ton of polyamory and polygamy and all those sorts of things happening. So I think it's fascinating that they're trying to rebrand marriage. But what I think is more interesting is that marriage is at its center a legal contract. And we can talk all about like love and blah, blah, but like really at its love. At its core, marriage is about a contract between two consenting legal adults, or two, at the moment, two people. But if people can consent to run a business together or own a store together, I don't see why, if we really think about marriage as a contract, that it can't be between multiple people, as long as that contract provides some kind of equality, where it is not necessarily one member of one sex and like 12 of the other, but an equal contract is what marriage should be about.
Wow. See what I meant about the clauses? After 10 seconds, that was one long, wow.
Hey.
You got excellent semicolon.
Run-ons. I know them when I see them.
No, the semicolon. That's great. You're using alternative punctuation. So I'm glad that you're all embracing of those. Yeah.
I feel like my co-author on the book is submitting some of these questions because I felt like this one directly speaks to actually some data that we have in our book that I've never seen anywhere. I know, totally. It's there though. Where 80% of our respondents in the polyamory community were really excited and supportive of the marriage equality movement, because that's something we weren't sure about. We thought that, it's reaffirming, the simple coupleship. But over 80% of our respondents in our book were very supportive, seeing this as a step in the way. We do have these symbolic reasons, and we could make more contracts. There could be 3. For me, analyzing it within a larger capitalist system, the reasons why people actually get married are oftentimes tied to other economic issues. So if we had something more like universal healthcare, where people didn't have to get married for insurance or for immigration rights or all of these other things, I think in that way, this reaffirms this dichotomy and shoving people into this institution more than anything else.
All right, time to vote.
This just in, guys. Sean is writing a book about weird sex shit.
It's going to be great. You should buy it. It'll be up next year. Thank you.
I think that would be a title that would really sell.
Weird sex shit.
Weird sex shit.
So the working title is The Politics of Perverts.
Nice.
Yes.
I like that title.
Has everybody voted? All right.
Not so popular, it can't be measured. Followed by Hillary, Robin, and Tom.
Excellent. All right. So last question before we hit the lightning round. If you want to submit a question, now's the time to do it. We only have 3 long-form questions left, including the one that I'm just about to read. This one comes from our audience here. What are your thoughts on prostitution? If the sex is consensual, should it still be considered wrong or illegal? If so, why? So go on.
I think that if it is regulated, highly regulated, so that it is safe for men and women who are working, so that there is protection for them, so that they are receiving the wages that they are due, so that they're actually getting paid for their work, which it is work, and that they were not put in harm's way, and that they were consenting to the work that they were completing, and that they were working normal hours, that they had a place to live that was not in the hostel, or not hostel, the whatever the hell place that they're, the brothel that they're living in. Oh my God. Too many hostels lately.
I'm not trying to share with you. No.
Whatever hostel, brothel, I just stay wherever when I travel. I don't even care. But I feel like if they are regulated where they're working and they're under the same types of regulations that I am when I go to work, and the same types of safety considerations that I am held by OSHA, then sure, then go for it. If it's equal, people are consensual, then that's fine. But the way that it is right now, it's just not safe. And all those things.
Right, Sean?
Yes. Yeah, her answer was great. I'm really.
Brothel?
What's that?
He likes running with either thing. He doesn't care.
I mean, yeah. There's a the diversity of people involved in sex work for different reasons. I have friends who are involved with sex work. They love it. They travel around the country in their car. They get on websites, and this is how they travel. That's all they do is travel the country in their car.
That's all they do.
They love their life. Well, once they get there, then they work. But yeah, yeah, that's about it. I'm done.
All right. So Zoe said that the hostile brothel was playing in the D club.
Let's go.
All right, Robin.
Well, I'll start by saying I don't have any basic moral qualms about prostitution. I mean, people get money for sexuality in so many different ways in so many different industries that this is just yet another version of that. I will say the problem comes with the word consent. Consent is defined as two or more people being equally able to choose their actions. I think when you put money in the picture, that goes away. And so I don't think you can have truly consensual sex acts when there's money involved. And I think for that reason, prostitution will always be problematic for the sex worker, whether it's whoever it is. Again, here comes my cynic. Yes, regulations are a great idea, but I think the power differential is so great given the money involved that that even the greatest amount of regulations wouldn't make it a safe and truly consensual environment. So.
And I, obviously agree with my fellow panelists about much of what they're saying. I think that if we regulated it and made it less stigmatized, which is not the same thing as making it legal, if we destigmatize both the sex worker and one who visited a sex worker, I think that would aid a little bit more as well, in addition to making it legal. In our current system, in America, where it is illegal, with the exception of very small places, I would really like to see a shift in the who gets arrested during that transaction, because currently it is the sex workers, the prostitutes, who are arrested. In fact, there was just a big sting that happened in West Huntington, and they arrested a lot of female prostitutes. And if we continue to make the prostitute the person who gets arrested in that, as opposed to the John, the typically male person going to visit a female prostitute, I think we're punishing the wrong sect of the population who is in the sex work industry and involved in the sex work industry. So until it's regulated and legal and destigmatized, that would be a shift I would like to see, is to punish the seeker outer as opposed to the worker, because a lot of the times they are not really being able to choose that for themselves.
Okay, and take a vote. Actually, the seeker outer should probably be one of those things from Harry Potter.
The seeker outer, yeah.
With the first question.
Yeah. Hermione starts turning tricks, and just not Hermione. She's my girl.
What's your name?
All right, 3,
Hermione, not
2,
Hermione.
1, and the answer is
votes. Oh,
Oh, wow. Sean was blank.
Well, I just kind of said Dawn's was awesome. Yeah. So if I got a vote, I would have been upset.
So who's
Robin,
missing?
Don, Hillary, no votes for Sean.
Oh.
It's the clickers are busted,
Well, he
right?
did just kind of say, yeah, what she said.
Yeah, no. If I got a vote, that would have been some pretty sexist junk.
And sexist junk also. Like.
Yeah.
All right, so lightning people, are you ready? Okay, new lightning people.
No, I like that last group.
More of my students need to be in the lightning room. I did some surveys outside of intermission. They go for fun for gathering rounds. That's why you were the funniest.
Because women are
Alright,
funny,
so
you know?
one for the
Yeah,
two of you,
we're,
one
yeah,
for the
we're just not funny. Yeah, no. I'm getting surprisingly
All right, let's do a tech run through.
Yeah, I did that last year.
Hey. Thank you.
I'm like, I already lost.
B.
We didn't even hear the question.
Good. C.
Good job, Dawn.
And D. All right. First lightning question comes from Chris Lucas,
Oh. Wow.
who has the biggest smile.
I wonder who this is
The judges.
tailored for.
What is the worst lie that American culture and media perpetrates about sex and sexuality?
Sean, one sentence.
That is dangerous.
Okay. Hillary?
Media perpetuates the idea that a man's orgasm is the only one that matters.
Dawn?
That losing your virginity before you get married is the worst thing that could possibly ever happen to you forever and ever and ever.
Robin?
That sexual activity with yourself and with others is something to be ashamed of.
All right, votes.
Wait, tiebreaker.
We need a- Everybody loses. Everybody loses today. Excellent, excellent. Okay. My roommate assumed, those are really good answers. I like that. But unfortunately,
They were too
you all
good.
lose. All right, my roommate assumes that I'm a virgin and mentions it casually and jokingly to strangers. Is this okay? I'm highly uncomfortable by this. Should I talk to them about it? Sean?
That's great. I think that. Sorry, that took me off. Just the fact that roommate is discussing your sexuality and sexual experiences with strangers, not necessarily being a virgin. I think you could talk about it in a very general sense if you're uncomfortable with the confrontational nature of disclosing your own sexual history.
All right, Robin?
Yeah, I mean, short answer, roommate's an asshole.
All right, Dawn?
Yeah, roommate's an asshole, and I think you should come up with something really flipping disgusting that your roommate does and share that with everybody. Like, you know what? She licks the toe jam out between her toes every night. Watch her do it.
I think that person should have sex in the room with the roommate there to prove that you're not a virgin.
All right, votes.
Oh, good, you got it. Yes.
All right, 5 points to Gryffindor.
I don't really think you should do that, by the way.
Excellent.
It was a good
Okay.
answer.
Okay, third lightning question. Are bromance or womance or BFF films progressive or regressive? Dawn?
I don't know what a bromance movie is.
Judd Apatow.
I don't watch movies either. I've watched like 10 movies my whole life.
Movies where guys can show like intimacy that's
Oh, I think that's
platonic.
lovely. I think that's great. I think that's totally moving us forward. I like it.
All right, Sean?
Well, I've seen them, and so I think if you've seen them, you wouldn't answer that way. I feel very bad. Yeah, I think they're very regressive. Short answer.
All right, Hillary?
I think that it shows that we are still uncomfortable with the idea of gender, that two dudes who are friends still have to be called a bromance.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, you got yeah. I like your answer.
All right, votes please. All right, Hillary wins 5 big points.
Like, Jason Segel and Paul Rudd.
No, like Hangover. No.
I love you, man, is the one you're thinking.
Yeah, I love you, man. Oh, what are you doing?
So, tell me, Robin,
Okay. Is this lightning round?
Yes.
Okay.
So, sure, we have 2 more lightning round questions left. So, do you think the prevalence of sexually explicit material available for free pretty much anywhere is on balance positive or negative? In a sentence, why?
Positive, I think censoring assumes that we don't have critical thinking capabilities, and we do, even our kids do. So we should allow material out there so people can think critically about it.
All right, Hillary.
I think the problem with sexually explicit material, i.e. porn, is not that it's not censored, but that people are using porn as sex ed, and using porn as sex ed is more like using NASCAR like for driver's ed. So that's the problem with it.
All right, because you only curve for what? Sean.
I had an answer that I thought was fun, but then now I'm like, no. You kind of changed my mind. So I would say that, oh God, this is a short round. I resign.
Right, Don?
I'm not against it. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it being free and available. What's the difference between being free and available and having to pay for it? I mean, seriously.
All right.
A few bucks.
Votes, please. All right, Hillary again.
I'm learning how to
Locking
talk
up.
quickly and short and
Locking up.
concise. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So, tell me, Sean, our Twitter handle is at MU Sexuality Stew, STU. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/MU Sexuality Stew, STU. If MU Sexuality Stew were a mascot, what should it look like? I may have gotten some inspiration.
I forgot what they look like, but they're the little air things that you see floating outside, all in big green. Yes, right outside Smith Hall. Yes, the car place is right on 3rd Avenue.
Hillary?
Well, whenever I picture Sexuality Stew, I always picture a gender-bending 70s disco man with an afro. But gender bendy, not man. So Sexuality Stew.
Robin?
I think it should be like beef stroganoff, like a really hearty, meaty, flavorful stew.
And I'm sure that's sour cream on top, right? And Dawn?
I think you should get like an inflatable hot tub that you can put on the back of like a truck, and you can just kind of roll it around through campus. People can get in, hang out. Could be Sexuality Stew.
Nice, all right. Votes, please.
Could be that.
Could be really bad.
Eat on the stew.
I just want a hot tub.
All right, everybody loses. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sean won.
Oh,
3 Ds.
someone.
Excellent. And D spells diploma. So congratulations, everybody. All right. So this is the second to last long round. So we will take no more donations after the end of this round. So if you need to, if you feel the need to get your person to win, do it now. Do it now. And then Molly will need you to help count stuff in a second. Okay.
Wait, whoever wins this one gets all this. I'm going with the audience here.
All right. So, all right.
Oh, look, I'm going to do like donating the right prices. So you each get 25 cents.
Thank you.
Nice. Okay, so Hillary, should a member of a sexual or gender minority change their online presence, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the like, in order to get a job?
So just to make sure, you're saying that like the premise is that somebody who identified as queer in some way, i.e. not straight, would be less likely to be hired? Is that the premise of the question?
Yeah, so knowing that recruiters and employers are now looking at people's social media, so should one create a more, I guess, heteronormative profile in order to help them get a job?
I've literally never thought about this before. I think the sad answer is that it would help, but they shouldn't have to.
Okay. You have 45 more seconds.
No.
So yesterday. No.
I mean, it's a
Yeah,
very
I'm
efficient
done.
use.
I'm good.
All right. Dawn.
I don't think this should necessarily be heteronormative. I think that when you're going on, if you're on the job market, you're getting ready to get a job, I think that you should take your last name off your profile. I am Dawn Marie on Facebook. There are 1,000 Dawn Maries out there. You should take your picture off of there. You should make sure that you're completely hidden, because the last thing that you want is somebody going through and checking out your politics or checking out anything about you when you're on the job market. You want to get that job for what's on the application and not because they see whatever they see on Facebook.
All right. Rob?
Yeah, the word should is really problematic there. Because no, they shouldn't have to, obviously. But we live in the world we live in. I mean, I would like to see a world in which there's on Facebook, wherever, like the second question after your name is what is your gender? Mm-hmm. And I would just like to see where you can go on whatever, whether it's online interfaces or whatever, and not have to report your gender identity at all. I don't know why, for so many jobs, I don't know why it would be relevant anyway. So that would be my, like, if I can promote my ideal world, that would be it, because I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Not saying my name when it moves to me, I was just like, is it really me? Because I'm
Yes,
always forgetting when there's a head nod. You know, in some ways, doing that type of scrubbing is reaffirming the institutions that are hurting you at the same time. But I've never been in a position in my life where I've never felt I need to do that. I haven't had kids. I needed a job to raise them. So at the same extent, there's a whole lot of other economic realities out there that I'm not facing. So sometimes people just have to do what they need to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Votes, please.
Can I make another comment that's not for votes?
No,
after
wait
you guys
till
are done
we're
voting. Wait until you're done voting. Vote, and then. I literally said everything that you guys said. I just said it shorter. You bums. What is wrong with you people?
3, 2, 1.
Can make the comment, Don wins the round, followed by Sean and Robin in the tie. Last.
That's next time I won't use up all my minute.
Congratulations.
Okay, the last chance for you to make any donations. Last chance to make any donations at all.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, I know.
Do it. Run.
Okay, so the other thing is they're going to know who you are once you end up getting there anyway, so it's probably best for them to know who you are before you get there, because it's probably best not to end up working for a bunch of sexist bastards. And if they know who you are, they're not going to hire you, then good for you. You're going to go somewhere who's going to accept you and who's going to like you. You're going to have a good time working there.
That's advice I got at the job market.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a question I wanted to ask. I know that it's a great concern, this whole getting jobs thing. And I know that we're all
Being employed thing.
very,
Employment.
very affirming, but also, realistic with how mean things are out there. So,
That was
okay.
me with my
Is there anyone else who wants to?
Should I take this publication off because I don't want to
My head was-
publication that was in the Journal of Sexuality? And they're like, no, leave it on.
All right. Okay, Maggie and Kate, could I have your help in counting
Thanks,
the
President.
votes?
Departmental solidarity.
Right, and
Oh, I brought my clicker out.
Thanks for the quarter, Chris.
I'll do one.
That was all that's in there.
Today I ate.
Already told them we're gonna do our plan. What we do with our plan. Well, no. You burn houses down.
Oh yeah, I burn houses.
And I can clean chins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also punch in the face. I can be hired for either. Okay. Yeah.
We play around with timing
Where were you
sometimes.
guys like 2011?
Right.
$30.
Yeah.
Oh, I was in
Hey,
jail for
I-
burning someone's house.
Instead, I think it was B now. That I met last year when I just started dating.
all right.
There you go. But
We need to get you some career first.
I need to start eating. And sleeping would be nice. I'm at that stage.
What day is it now?
Monday. So it's been like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, I'll get there. It's fine.
You did eat today.
I did eat today. Candy. But I also had broccoli.
All right.
Yay!
Oh, that is not my favorite. Probably like pasta.
Some brownies.
I like my sweets in like little bites. I like the repetition of like eating one M&M.
All right, so our final question tonight, I think I'll go with another practical one. So this past summer, during what was called the Fappening, a large volume of celebrity nude pictures leaked. So two-part question. What culpability does does a person have in looking at the pictures? So the people who download the pictures and look at it, what is their culpability? And two, considering how easy it is to trade digital information and how frequently people get hacked or have easy passwords guessed, should we not take sexy selfies? All right, so two-part question. What's the culpability of people who looked at these leaked celebrity pictures? And then should we not take sexy selfies? So Sean, start us off.
Shoot, this is one I wanted to go later with. Culpable completely and totally. They're creating the market of demand for it. If nobody looked at these pictures, this would not be an issue. What was part two?
And then should we not take sexy selfies, considering how easy it is to get them passed around?
It's just some basic sense of realism, just the extent that if you do take them with the expectation that everything can be hacked now. So I hate to put that regulation, but go forward if you're willing to accept what could happen. I'm not happy with that, but that's the world.
All right, Hillary.
So I'm going to answer them in reverse order, if that's okay. What I think is interesting is that when Target customers got hacked online by Target, nobody blamed the people who went to Target. They blamed the people who hacked Target. So hacking sexy photos or whatever is a sex crime. It's not a hacking issue. So no, we should not stop doing it because we need to get away from a victim blaming culture that just because you want to send a picture of your dick to somebody consensually, that you are the problem. And the first part is I agree with Sean 100% that you are culpable in all of our media culture. If you watch Two Girls, One Cup, you're culpable. If you watch an ISIS beheading video, you are culpable in propagating propaganda. So don't watch them, don't click them, and let's keep this crazy everybody's a celebrity special snowflake shit to a minimum.
All right, Robin.
Yeah, totally agree. You're culpable. If you look, you're creating an audience. You're creating, if there are consumers, there will be producers. I say sexy selfies are great. In theory, the IRB always talks about these locked boxes that we have to keep all our research in. So I wish we could have like locked boxes which you can put your selfies. But yeah, just like Sean said, do it. Continue to express yourself that way. Just be aware. Even in the days of VHS, like if you make a sex tape and your boyfriend's roommate finds the sex tape, well, so I don't know that has become a entirely new problem, but so just be aware of what you're doing and be safe and smart about it. But yeah, go for it. Take those selfies.
Yeah, I like that you had both sort of vulgar pun with locked box and then go to magnetic media. So
There you go.
that's a pun.
You're welcome.
Boyfriend's roommate finds your sex tape. Worst case scenario, you could turn into Kim Kardashian. You could have like $1 billion empire. Could be great. Could be good. I don't know. So you changed my mind a little bit on this. No, but I definitely think that you're culpable if you watch the videos. If you anything that anybody's got out there that they didn't put out there by their own consent and that they're not comfortable having out there. If you're out there watching it, you're just as culpable as people who put it up. And then the second part.
Should you?
Oh, should you? Yeah. Should you still take them or not? I mean, I personally don't practice the sexy selfie taking, at least not outside of my comfort level. Not anything that if you guys saw, I'd be like, oh, okay. I wouldn't be embarrassed if I go up for university president, wearing kind of like a skimpy tank top or whatever, and kind of, doing the hair tassel thing. That's still sexy. It's not naked. It's still sexy, but just be aware of what you're putting out there, and that when you're taking those pictures, be aware that somebody could eventually see them at some point in time.
All right, votes please. And if you could have the representative from Contact come join us.
You're yellow.
I'm a closer. Always be closing. I'm actually supposed to
The round is Hillary, followed by
I just want to
Robin,
point out that I did compare hacking.
then Dawn, and finally
Clear that I did that.
Excellent. So please come on over here. So while Walter's doing the final tally, so if you could figure out what it is by raw points, and then if the contributions added to that, please do. So why don't you tell us a little about Contact?
Sure. I am Katie Simmons. I'm a victim advocate at Contact Rape Crisis Center. We serve victims of sexual violence and stalking in Cabell, Wayne, Lincoln, and Mason counties. We offer judiciary, legal, and medical advocacy. And like they mentioned, we're a 24-hour service. So at any time of the day, if you or someone you know is in an emergency or just want to talk about whatever has happened or what you think may happen, you can call at any time. We also have many volunteer opportunities. You don't always have to answer the phone. It can just be coming to events like this and setting up tables and just hanging out with people. If you would like to know more information about that, you can see me after. I'll be hanging out outside with some other volunteers. And most importantly, from all of Contact, we'd like to thank you for your contributions because it sure does help everybody.
All right. Thank you very much. There you go. And give yourselves a round of applause because you donated $56 to Contact tonight. All right. Now, if any of you are musically minded, next year we would like to have sort of the Miss America style anthem that the host can sing to the person who wins the Wizard of Sexuality Studies. So, start now, start planning, and we'll have our own. Is there The Voice or American Idol for songwriters?
I have no idea.
Life.
Life, right? We will all get a life with your song. All right, so Walter, care to tell us how things went?
which totals do you want first?
So the
$56.
will money change things?
Oh, money will change things.
Like democracy.
Excellent, excellent. I love hearing that. So who was ahead in points before we added the money?
Who was in the lead was Sean.
Yeah.
With 93 points. Second, Hillary with 91 points.
That's very close.
Robin, 87.
I have 5 points.
With 87 points. And then last was Dawn with 66 points.
6 points.
66.
66.
All right, but
But when we add the dollar figures, last is Sean.
well, I mean, he did get a quarter.
For a grand total of 93.25 points.
Yes.
Second was Dawn with a contribution of $30.25.
But the second from bottom,
Or second from bottom. The third moved into third with 96.25 points. Third with a contribution of $12.25 is Robin at 99.25 points. So your winner with a contribution of $13.25 is Hillary with 104.25 points.
Excellent. Big round of applause. Speech. Speech.
No.
Y'all done?
I think we're good here.
Excellent.
I'm gonna teach in this tomorrow, just so you know.
I paid $5 for that.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming out tonight. Another ridiculous and edifying time at Wizard of Sexuality. You all are better.
I did communicate with that. I know.
So Hillary,
Honey, you're too harsh.
I kind of did want to ask you a question.
What?
Which year felt better for you? The year you won for what you said, or the money you raised for Contact?
I know. That's right. Well, last year I came in. I was the point leader So I
Right,
will
yes.
Oh,
Oh, so yeah, does this mean that you can't complain about Citizens United now that you've?
I will still complain about Citizens United.
Excellent. All right, well, let's get a.
Please make sure to bring your clicker down if you have one.
All right, clicker. Ready? One.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Let's take one. Nice. Hey, Walter. You come join us for a sec?
I'm going to Hogwarts. Yay! Right?
Well, let me just take this one with you, and then when he gets down here, 1, 2, 3.
We have to get the backers.
Okay, duck face. No, I'm just kidding. No, don't say duck face. I don't even. Why is that a thing? I don't know.
One, 2.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I don't really want this one.
Well, you pass it down next year. Next
Okay.
year it'll go to
Does
whoever's
it
next.
do something? Like I feel like it's
Well,
trying to
I
open or something.
Batteries in it, so it should light up and make sounds, but it is not. So I just thought it was me.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna teach in this tomorrow.
We need to take it back and exchange it, because I don't know why. It should be working.